What's happening? It's Taco Tuesday! Taco Tuesday! That's right. The Lakers take another victory, beating up on the Memphis Grizzlies in the second half, just like you're supposed to do to these bad teams. And welcome to the Showtime Forum. I am Greg Bergman, at Bergman Greg on Instagram, at Bergman Greg on Twitter, and following at Showtime Forum, where we have the best post-game show out there possible, where it's all about you, it's all about the fans. But this was just such a fun second half. Anthony Davis, I need to be clear about Anthony Davis, and I know this is kind of just preaching to the choir here, but when you talk about Anthony Davis, he was a freaking monster. How anybody thinks that this dude is not one of the top 5 players in the league, top 3 players in all of basketball, they're wrong. They're just flat out wrong. It's not right. They're incorrect, because Anthony Davis is a freaking beast. He's a gigantic man that does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, around the rim. It doesn't matter. He's great offensively. He's great defensively. He just completely commands the entire floor at all times in this game. And to get 40 and 20, he went to the free throw line and made 26 free throws. 26 free throws. That is a record, an Lakers record. And if you don't know, and you probably saw it all over Twitter, but if you don't know, the Lakers record for free throws made in a season, he passed Dwight Howard in the 2012 season when he had 25 free throws in a game, where he ended up going like 25 of 40 in a game. Anthony Davis in this game alone went 26 of 27. Just an insanity. They could not stop him, and that's all I'm seeing from every comment right now. AD is a beast. AD is a beast. AD is a beast. I have not seen Staples Center on a Tuesday like that in my lifetime, in quite some time. Maybe not my lifetime. That's a little bit of a hyperbole, but this is great to see after 6 years of just terrible, terrible basketball, to now have Anthony Davis and LeBron James playing like they're playing, being 3-1, and watching as people at Staples Center on a Tuesday are all standing and cheering and going crazy as Anthony Davis spins and turns and does whatever he wants to get to the basket and get to the free throw line, or just making shots, blocking shots, getting rebounds, pushing out. It's amazing. MVP chants everywhere. He was at the free throw line when he was going to get to 40 points, and there was just MVP. And I mean, look at what he's doing. The guy had a 16-9 in the first quarter. The first quarter. I mean, I look at it every time he's on the floor. I just see him getting a double-double in that quarter alone. He's that good. And so anybody talking about how maybe LeBron James is deferring too much and giving it up to Anthony Davis, look what he's doing on a regular basis. It is great to see, and I love watching Anthony Davis play. It's so much fun, and you saw a lot. And LeBron James it was interesting. LeBron did not have one rebound until the fourth quarter, when he got 2 in a back-to-back stretch. But before that, he had 0. He didn't need to. Anthony Davis had 20, 40 and 20. He was a plus 19. Oh, just a fantastic game from Anthony Davis, and I just love seeing the Staples Center crowd going so crazy. All right, so that was my biggest thing. I mean, if it was anybody else's biggest thing, there was more to say. It's really about just the defense that you saw from the second quarter on. The Lakers gave up 32 points, I believe it was, in the first quarter to the Memphis Grizzlies, and after that, it shut down. 15, 20, 24, done. And hold them to was it 91 points? I can't see my thing here. What do we got? Yeah, 91 points. Under 100 points. Again, that's twice already this season to hold to 100 points. They were one of 3 teams in all of basketball to hold teams to an average of under 100 points. They were at 99.7 before this game. It's obviously going to drop down probably closer to the 95 range after this game. So now, one of the best defensive teams in basketball based on opponent points per game. So again, and now getting the 120, you're now going to push your points per game, which was at 105. Now that's going to be pushed up to probably about 110. They're starting to look like the team that we all expected to see, and that's why this is so much fun to be watching. All right, there's a bunch of comments on here. I'm just going to try and shoot through a bunch of them real fast. Donovan Bryan 8 says, I'm in love. I'm with you, Donovan. Me and you, we're in love. It's all about Anthony Davis, and if you're not in love with this Lakers team, you are not a Laker fan. It is so much fun to watch. They get excited. The bench gets excited. They're standing up. They're getting crazy. It's just a blast being at Staples Center. I love it so much being able to do this right now. Tony Zavala 67 AD for MVP. The Toy Man 1 AD will be MVP. Tadeki Frank says Dwight should start. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, and I'll explain to that in just a few minutes after I get through all of this. Tony AD is a beast. Showtime Forum says, how about Anthony Davis? I mean, how about that guy Anthony Davis who's 40, 20, and two blocks? Not so bad. The Toy Man says AD is going to lead us to title number 17. Man, I'm right there with you. I hope so. Ron R, has anyone thanked the Pelicans yet? I have. Yeah, look, hey, the Pelicans are 0-4, but I like watching the stats and seeing what Brandon Ingram does and seeing what Josh Hart does and seeing especially what Lonzo does. And Brandon Ingram has been really, really good, but that's nothing. The bulletin board says 40-20. Oh, I forgot to mention this part. Thank you, bulletin board. In 3 quarters. 40-20. In 3 quarters. It's just a different game we're watching. We're not watching what we've been watching for the last 6 years. We're watching a team that has 2 legitimate superstars that know how to play the game and are exciting to watch and actually have skills to be in any single game at any point. They started off slow. It didn't matter. I think they were down something like 16-2 to start the game, and they won by 29. Just let that sink in for a second. It's not about starting fast. Although you would like them to start fast, they still came back and beat a bad Memphis Grizzlies team, as they should, in the second half. And really, from the second quarter on, they beat them. And really, Ja Morant, I didn't see much out of Ja that made me really all that excited. So maybe more so for you, but I wasn't into it. Jacob 24, Zoe, my dude, pour one for the homie. Yeah, I agree, man. I love Zoe, and I got killed all last year for trying to back up Zoe, and now everybody in New Orleans is like, oh, Zoe's amazing. He doesn't do things on the floor. He does things. It's all the things that he does that are not on the box score, like everything that we talked about all last year. Yeah, exactly. Jacob 24, what happens when Kuz comes back? When Kuz comes back, and that's on Instagram, when Kuz comes back, and he's supposed to come back either Friday or Sunday, he is going on the road trip. They're hoping he can play one of those 2 games. Maybe he plays in Chicago on Tuesday, but he's supposed to be back this weekend. And if he does, he comes out, and now you have a legit scorer coming off of the bench, where if you need to at times when he's back into play game shape, it's going to take some time. Let's remember what's going to happen with Kyle Kuzma. He has not played in a game since, when he was playing for Team USA. So was that August? Maybe the end of July, August, somewhere right around there. So he hasn't really played until then. He needs to be back into game shape. He's going to start off slow. He needs to really get back in there. But once he's actually fully healthy and back into what this team needs him to be, then you're going to see a legit scorer where you can sit Anthony Davis and LeBron James maybe at the same time. Or you can have Anthony Davis taking a little bit more time off. Right now they're staggering them pretty well, and what Frank Vogel is doing is absolutely working, so you can't hate on him. But when Kuzma comes back, that's when you're starting to see your real full team, and that's when you're going to get a lot more scoring coming off of the bench, which kind of can get stagnant at times, but that's why you need to leave LeBron or AD on the floor with that second unit. And also, when Rondo comes back, you got a ball handler. It's really Anthony Davis and LeBron James that are your best ball handlers. And LeBron and Anthony Davis should not be one of your best ball handlers. Just Just saying. Elliot On says, if our bench can make the open threes, we'd get to that next level. In the fourth quarter, they were missing some earlier in the game, and you saw a lot of missed three-point shots from a lot of the bench. They started hitting more later on. Troy Daniels did hit one, but that was it. He was 1 of 5. Quinn Cook hit one, but he was also 1 of 5, and he hit that one at the end of the game. Caruso was 0 for 2. KCP was 0 for 1. And everybody else was missing their three-pointers as well. Except for LeBron had 2 of them. Danny Green had 2, but he missed a couple that were wide open shots. And Avery Bradley hit the only one that he took. But so the three-point shot is still something that needs to help, and I think that's where Kuzma also comes in and helps, because he's been working a lot with Lethal Shooter, and that's where his three-point shot is supposed to be much, much better this year, and I think that's what it's going to be. 7E2 says, who trade asset for deadline? I mean, we're way too early on that. We're 4 games into the season. The Lakers are 3-1. And there's still a lot of time left, and you can't do anything, any types of trades, or even anything until really around December 15th. And that's when it'll start playing. But right now, just enjoy what you're watching, beating up on bad teams, as you should, and watching what you saw on Friday last week against Utah, and knowing that this was not just some fluke. Utah was missing Bogdanovich, and that was it. I get them mixed up. It was either Bojan or Bogdan, and I believe it was Bojan Bogdanovich. But either way, I believe it's Bojan that's on Utah. But that's all they were missing from there. So this is still a team that can beat up on a team that's supposed to be one of the top 4 teams, and a really good defensive team as well. So when they get to playing at home is different for Utah, and I think they're a team that starts really slow as well. So Utah is going to be a better team, but they beat up on them at home in the second half. That's what you saw. They're kind of like the Lakers, where they're just kind of learning each other as well. But I really like what I'm seeing, especially in the second half, from this Lakers team. And I think that's important to be talking about. Tony Zavale, 67. If we ever get into a rhythm, we're going to be real scary. I mean, when you got Anthony Davis, it's real scary. Brother Walton Bergman, man, your hair amazing, dog. Oh, thanks, man. You know what? I'm not allowed to wear hats at the stadium. I mean, I probably could, but at the arena, and I have to wear my, collared shirt, no hat, and I can't wear any Laker gear. But I decide that, so I come in here when I'm at a game and I wear my hair like this. So thanks for saying something nice about it. I don't do a ton to it. I wear a hat a lot, so it's just a little, there you go. Yes, and also, by the way, I started off the show yelling Taco Tuesday because it's Tuesday, and they held the team under 111 points. Let's be very clear about this. The Lakers changed what it was. It was 100 points. If you kept a team under 100 points, you got free tacos from Jack in the Box. Well, they changed that. Now it is 111 points for this year, that if you keep a team under 111 points, then you get free tacos, and that has to do with more scoring in the league, and also because they just want to give away more tacos. Let's be honest, because you get more than you get more than tacos at that point. Best one ever one says, are you ready to admit Dwight better than JaVale? Okay, I knew that we were going to have this Dwight conversation and JaVale conversation. Here's the thing. Dwight Howard is playing well. I'm not going to say he's been out of his mind. He had a really good game on Sunday where he had, I think it was 18 and 10, and he was really very good. He was 8 from 8 from the field, had a couple blocks, 3 blocks, 10 boards, was exactly what you kind of want off the bench. If you can get that on a nightly basis, then absolutely. But that's not who he is. He is a guy that is going to be an enforcer. He's going to have a lot of energy. He's going to go after loose balls. He's going to go after every single rebound he can possibly get. And he's also going to put his shoulder into people. And he's also going to have 5 fouls in the game. And he's going to have games. The first 2 games of the season, he had 8 rebounds and 2 points, or 6 rebounds and 3 points, or whatever it happened to be. It was very low points and, a decent amount of rebounds. That's more of what you're going to see most likely from Dwight on a regular basis. But he's going to have those games like he had on Sunday, where he's going to have 18 and 10, or he's going to have 16 and 12 with 3 blocks. And he's going to have an outstanding game where nobody can stop him. But for the most part, that's not who you are. And I really like him coming off the bench. I like the idea of him having that energy off the bench and being an enforcer in that role, and being somebody that you have to really guard and be around, because otherwise he's going to completely out rebound you. That's exactly what I'm going to. So when it comes to JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, Dwight I want off the bench. JaVale is an interesting case. So overall, of course, at the end of games, you want to see Anthony Davis playing more five, especially in tighter games. And you will see that when it's a tighter game and you really need him on the floor. But to start the games, I don't like starting off slow like the Lakers have the last two games. But JaVale just seems lost kind of in the offense, and it's a little bit defensively. He's usually late. And he's not in the correct positions, and he's kind of not really fitting into the offensive system either. I mean, he was fine tonight. He was 5 of 7. He had 10 points. He had 9 rebounds, an assist, a block. But, he wasn't fantastic. I mean, a lot of that came towards the end of the game. And really, he just isn't everything that you want from a starter, but I don't know. I think he's better off starting, especially for his mindset. And I love the just the energy that you get from Dwight. So I'm very much on board with having Dwight Howard off the bench. And I know most people they see what he did on Sunday and say he's got to start. I don't want it yet. I still need a little bit more from him. Let's see. We got 7E2 says Kuz and 39 off the bench. Yes. See again. Kuz, now you have a straight 6-man off the bench with Kyle Kuzma and a big with Dwight Howard off the bench. I think those two work better together. We'll see what happens when Kuz comes back, but you have a legitimate rebounder, you have a legitimate scorer, and if Rondo is the guy that's running your point, I know how much we don't like Rondo. I'm with you, but he is an absolute ball handler. There isn't very many of these. There's a ton of guards on this team, and there's only one or two ball handlers on the entire team. Caruso is okay, but that's not his job. That's not who he is. That's not what you want to see from Alex Caruso. You want to see the guys that you were actually ball handling is Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And LeBron James has been doing an excellent job of it. How many assists did he have tonight? He had around 8 or 9. Yeah, he had 8. He had 8 assists, 2 rebounds. He's not going to get a lot of rebounds, especially with Anthony Davis sitting in the middle there. Let's go over to YouTube. Sam Ellingson says LeBron is legit coasting until the fourth quarter every game. I mean, but look what you saw here. It's whether you want to call it coasting, I don't think that's what it is. He's getting Anthony Davis involved and letting Anthony Davis be what you want from him. Anthony Davis is giving you these leads. He's giving you everything he's got. He's giving you 40 and 20. And LeBron is ready to say, okay, when it's time for me to step in, then I'm going to step in. And look, we're 4 games into the season. I'm not ready to see LeBron James go completely ball out and be the LeBron James that everybody wants for him to be because it's so early in the season. If you're going to get wins and he can just be a facilitator and get his, 10 to 20 points, look, when he wants to get to 23 points, he's going to get to 23 points. He did it tonight. He only had 9 points going into the maybe even the fourth quarter. And he just decided, all right, I'm going to score a little bit and then I'm going to get out of here. And that's what happens. When he felt like scoring in the fourth quarter and putting the game away, he did just that. So I'm fine with the way that he's doing this thing. It's kind of like his own load management. We always saw that LeBron was going to be a guy that was when it got to March, that's when he was really going to start playing defense. But you're seeing what he does right now anyway. He's taking charges. He's getting back on defense and for transition blocks and chase down blocks. Those are the types of things that you need from him right now, playing the defense that he needs to when he needs to. It's all going to change when it gets into March and he really needs to step in and it starts becoming playoff time. That's when we're really going to see it. Brandell87, Danny, Greg doesn't care who wins the World Series since the Dodgers are out. Yes, you're right. I don't care who wins the World Series. I understand, yes, they're going Game 7. Mason, Ireland is 1 hour tomorrow, 3 to 4 p.m. That's it. That's all we're getting because of Game 7. So, yeah, baseball ended 2 weeks ago when the Dodgers got knocked out. Blake St. Clair, Bergman should give some tips to LeBron with the hair. Hey, apparently my hair looks really good today, so thank you for that. I appreciate that. I don't really get a lot of compliments on my hair, and I will take it after every time, so thank you. Mr. 3-point shooter. AD is the GOAT. AD is the GOAT. I mean, that's what everybody at Staples Center was saying today. They were yelling, they were screaming MVP, MVP, while he was shooting free throws, and I got to mention it again. 26 free throws that he made. He was 26 of 27 from the free throw line tonight. And in that time, that 26 free throws is the most free throws made by a Laker since 2010 Dwight Howard. or 2012 Dwight Howard. Crazy, right? 2012 Dwight Howard was your leader. And that's what happens. Dye it gray. No, I'm not dyeing my hair. Eventually, it will turn gray, just like everything else. I'm starting to get gray in my beard. It's just, eventually it'll happen. If it goes to being salt and pepper, I'm all for it. Don't worry about it. Kuzmania says Howard fits better with AD than McGee, though. I mean, at times, yes. Look, I don't know how JaVale McGee fits in right now, but he needs to start figuring out. So if he's going to start and he's going to be the guy that's in there, I like that better. And also, yes, Howard is the better guy off the bench. That's just how I feel. I'm not alone in that. Some people agree, some people don't, and that's what's great about this Showtime forum. You can come on here and you can say whatever you want. You can disagree with me. I'm not always right. I mean, I think I am. I like to say that I am. I really feel like I am. But, I'm just kidding. But you can come on here and you can say that. You can say whatever you feel like and disagree with me, and then we can have an actual discussion. Maybe not face to face, but I can read your comment, give my take, and read your comments all over again. That's what's great about this. You don't get that anywhere else. A lot of people try and do this. It just doesn't work the same. Some people, and it's other sites that try and do it. I'm sorry, it's not the same. It just isn't. Jaded Balls, which I'm surprised that I read that out loud, even though I saw that that's what it said. But Dwight is a much smarter player, and it shows more on defense. He's been great. Look, Dwight is not like this most years, and I still need to see more. 4 games is not enough for me to be like, oh, Dwight's the greatest thing ever. I need more. I'm not saying that I'm giving him all the credit in the world. He has been fantastic since he came on. He has seemed like he's humbled. He looks like he's playing like has a ton of energy. I just need to see it over a longer period of time. And when that happens, I will gladly sit back and say, you guys were all right and I was wrong. But right now, I'm happy with what I'm getting from him. Look, what you saw tonight, 2 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. That's the Dwight. Those are the numbers that I want from Dwight. Maybe a little bit more, a couple more rebounds, but besides that, those are fine. That doesn't affect me at all. I think that's great. 19 minutes for Dwight. He did have 5 fouls, so he had to come out of the game a lot. And 29 for JaVale. That's a lot of minutes for JaVale, but he got points, and he got 10 points, 9 rebounds. And it just, but the main minutes that were out there, that was JaVale. I mean, I'm sorry, that was Howard. Dev Hall 11. I think Avery Bradley and Dwight are solid 6th man players, and we will have AD or Bron on court. Yeah, they are. Avery Bradley, I kind of like starting because basically for his defense. I don't think he's much of a scorer, although he was the 3rd leading scorer tonight, I believe. What do you have? 12 points? Yeah, 12. Actually, no. Yeah, KCP was actually the 3rd leading scorer. He had 13 points because for some reason something went nuts for him in the 4th quarter where he hit like 5 shots in a row. But before that, he was absolutely garbage. And all right, so I got to talk about this too when it comes to KCP because there's not all positive things, right? So I saw on Twitter, and I defer. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you straight up the truth. I defer to what Laker film room says almost all the time because he is way smarter when it comes to the ins and outs of basketball than I am. And when he says something, I'm like, all right, fine, you're right. I don't even care. Even if I disagree with you, you're right. In that sense, he was talking about in the beginning of the game when KCP played 15 minutes from the middle of the first quarter to basically the end of the 2nd quarter, and was just a disaster in my mind. I thought that KCP was terrible. I didn't think he was playing good defense. I actually took a video and sent it to Showtime Forum about just following KCP around. He looks like he has zero activity defensively. Offensively, he stands in a corner and just watches and then walks back up the floor. And then maybe he gets a hand on a ball every once in a while because he jumps into a passing lane when they're kind of just walking down the floor. But besides that, he just fades into the key. And there's a guy sitting right behind him in the corner, wide open for a 3-point shot, and he is always way too late to get back. And then most of the time they drain that corner 3. Other times if his player is at the top of the key, he floats down again into the key, and he's just kind of standing around lost. and the pass goes out, and this time it was Grayson Allen, and he passes out to Grayson Allen. He tries to go back to help himself out and to get back and to block a 3-point shot. Instead, it's a fake shot, and Grayson Allen comes down the middle of the lane and gets a foul because KCP was out of position. And this is what I see so often with KCP is out of position on defense and really just kind of standing around on the offensive end. Just because you're running around doesn't mean that you're actually doing anything on offense. Like, just because he's cutting into the middle but not finding his way. He just cuts in the middle and out to the 3-point shot, and then he stands there and doesn't move. And that's it. That's all he does. And I don't think that's good offense. I don't think that's good defense. And it's basically like John Wooden says, and I'm going to get this quote wrong, but John Wooden used to say it, and it's in all of his books. It says, don't mistake, I forgot it already. Don't mistake activity for, I forgot the exact quote, but basically being active but actually doing something in the correct way. Can't remember the exact quote. Somebody will completely say it for me, and I feel like an idiot because I didn't think of a John Wooden quote off the top of my head. It's very upsetting. It's my hero. Sorry. Anyway, so KCP just wasn't what I want to see. I'm sorry. Brendel87, is there a Mason curse since LAFC lost? All right, look, we're going to go to this, but I was starting to think maybe it wasn't real. We went to the LAFC game that they won against the Galaxy, and that was a game that Mason was at. So it was a playoff game. He came to a Laker game on Friday of last week. Lakers won. So, oh my God, okay, the curse is gone. But then he goes to a game for LAFC tonight, and they lose. And he was there again. That is a Mason curse. I'm sorry. I mean, we can pick and choose what we want because there has to be a curse. We have to blame somebody, and it makes way more sense, and it's way more fun to blame Steve Mason than to actually blame the players or the coaches or whatever happened for the LAFC. I didn't watch the game. But I'm happy not because LAFC lost. I actually really like LAFC. But Mason lost $30,000 in mythical money. So for me, that's a gigantic win, and I'm sorry. Mythical money means way more to me than soccer does. I've never been a big soccer guy. I mean, I grew up kind of watching the Galaxy, just their score sheet, but that's about it. And then in the LA Times, I would go and be like, oh, look, the Galaxy won again. Great. But I mean, now I work at ESPN LA, and we're the LAFC station. So I'm like, cool. I like the LAFC logo. Fine. I'll be an LAFC fan. Not like a crazy fan or anything, but Mason is, and he lost $30,000 in mythical money by betting on them. So I'm awesome. I'm happy. I don't care. Sorry, LAFC fans. I won $30,000. I found $30,000 come right back at me because Mason lost it. Very, very happy about that. David Ojeda. Now we're going to get back to the Lakers. Sorry about that whole LAFC thing. David Ojeda. Feels amazing to hear Staples be that loud again. Music to my ears. It was great, right? I was just so much fun to be able to watch that team, the Staples Center crowd, be so loud and energetic and really into the game. It makes it such a huge, huge difference. Danny Bleeds Blue. I think so. That's why our Dodgers lost the World Series. That was a while ago. We don't need to talk about this again, do we? I don't need to hear any more about the Dodgers. That's the end of this for me. Thank you. I would not like to hear about that anymore. Blake St. Clair on YouTube. I like Howard on the bench, but if they work on it in an interchangeable 3-man pick and roll with Dwight, AD, and LeBron would be unstoppable once they perfect it. Starter later in the season, maybe? Sure. Look, if he can prove by mid-season, if we're talking about like January, by right around January, if he's still playing like he is, then I'm happy with it. Then fine. You can start switching that. And maybe it'll happen sooner than later. I just like JaVale starting and Dwight Howard coming off the bench right now and the energy that Dwight Howard brings off the bench right now. El Cariza 1, I disagree that I can disagree with you. It's fine. Donovan Bryant, I'm sorry if there is a little bit of lag. I'm at the station, and the station Wi-Fi is what I got. If it's laggy, I can't do anything about it. I'm really sorry. On away games during the week, I'll be at home. There will not be any lag. It'll be much easier. I'll be at home, and my Wi-Fi is really good. When I'm at the station, the Wi-Fi is terrible, and I can't really do much about it. On the weekends, though, as you saw on Sunday, Devon Johnson is going to be doing the weekends for me because I have to spend time with my kids. So on the weekends, you will see Devon Johnson, either a Saturday or Sunday game, sometimes on Fridays, doing the post-game show, and I thought he was great. I don't know if anybody else watched it, but he was fantastic on Sunday. Really did a great job filling in, so he will see him a lot more, especially on the weekends. NBA Fanatic 5145. Playing Memphis reminded me of Iggy again. Could you imagine defensive lineups with his addition? He would be fantastic. I think that's one of the two things that the Lakers are really missing. They're missing ball handlers, which, yeah, probably is going to be a Rondo factor when he comes back. There's your ball handler, whether or not he's good on defense or not, which, let's face it, he's not. He is a ball handler, and that's an important thing to have because there's not much of them on this team right now. The other is the defense on the perimeter, and actually the perimeter defense has been pretty good. The Memphis Grizzlies were 7 of 34 from 3-point range. That's 20%. And I get that they're young, and I get that they're a fast-paced team, but they were not shooting the three ball very well, and a lot of that was because guys like Danny Green were able to get back and get a hand up in somebody's face. It was really nice to see, and they're just playing better defensive ball on the perimeter. I have to give it up to Frank Vogel. I think Frank Vogel is a big reason for a lot of that. And making it so, and him and Lionel Hollins having your two guys that are defensive-minded coaches, I think that really helps. And it's just what's happening with this team. They are figuring out how to be a good defensive team, and they have a better defensive presence right now than most other teams in the NBA. I know they gave the most points they've given up this year was to the Clippers on opening night when, it was opening night, 112. That's it. Besides that, it was 86, 90, it was 86, 101, and 91. That's good defense. And one of those teams, that 86, was against the Utah Jazz. So don't give me that they playing these terrible teams. Yes, Memphis is bad. I get it. And so is Charlotte. Charlotte is bad as well, but they're still playing good defense and blowing teams away, especially in the second half. Let's see. Ant H on YouTube says, "Oops, ESPN Internet." Yeah, I don't know what you want me to do. D10010. Imagine adding Boogie, Kuz, and Rondo to this team come playoffs. That's what's going to happen, and possibly. We don't know what's going to happen with Boogie. They're not getting rid of him, but they would have to lose. If they want to bring in somebody like Andre Iguodala, you'd have to waive somebody, and that person that you're going to waive, maybe Boogie Cousins. I don't think you're going to waive Troy Daniels because he's a 3-point shooter. I don't think you're definitely not going to waive KCP. Get it out of your mind. It's not happening. Just don't even think about it. I don't think you're going to waive Quinn Cook. He's again a 3-point shooter. THT doesn't even count on all of this, and he's a second-round pick, and there's no reason to do that. Alex Caruso, nope. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to all of you. People will lose their mind if Alex Caruso is cut. And really, Dwight Howard would be another guy, but Dwight's been playing great, so no, you wouldn't do that either. And Jared Dudley would be another one. 7 minutes, didn't really play much, and that's kind of who he is. So maybe they cut Jared Dudley, but he's a good locker room guy. I think if you had to choose... Yeah, Jared Dudley. I think maybe that would be where I go, which I don't like saying that. Blake said, the bandwidth is being used by Mason Googling himself. Let's see. Tan Reno 13. Second thought. Dwight's got these little flashes of Rodman in the later years of his career. Way more hustle than most players his age and has this young bulldog aggression. He could be trending towards some huge playoff moments. Always need those guys. Absolutely. And he's going to do what you saw tonight. He's going to put his shoulder into people. He's going to fall on people. He's going to go crazy for rebounds. He's going to jump out of his shoes because he's trying to get a rebound or trying to get a block. And then what I really like that he does is that he'll block a shot in an insane way, and then he'll go up to the crowd and wave his finger instead of waving his finger so he doesn't get a tech. Really nice stuff. Let's see. I got Donnie Ekbodi. That shirt makes you look like a nurse that just got fired. Why do you even come in to say things like that, Donnie? There's no need for that. And this is a shirt. It is a collared shirt. It is a blue collared shirt from Travis Matthew, I believe. I think it's a Travis Matthew shirt. I don't even know. So thanks for your input, Donnie. Mr. Drew Garcia, way better, actually. I'm not sure what that was for. Never mistake activity for achievement. Thank you. God, I knew somebody was going to do it. And the AGCH 1094 got that for me. So thank you. That's what it was about KCP. Never mistake activity for achievement, and that's what he does. So when he's running around the floor on offensive end, which is really doesn't happen all that much, when he's running around, do not mistake activity for achievement. He is not playing good basketball. I know he hit like 5 shots in the fourth quarter to give him 13 points, but besides that, he's been bad. He had 1 point going into the fourth quarter. He had 0 points in the first game, 1 point in the second game, and I know he had 10 in the game before and shot a little bit better later on in the game. But again, all in the fourth quarter. He's a disaster offensively, and I think he's getting beat consistently defensively, and I don't like him, and I don't want to play him. That's just me, though, and I'm allowed to say whatever I want. You can agree with me or not. I think most people actually do agree with me. Ron R, if Iggy were to be bought out and he wanted to join the Lakers, who would you cut? We were just talking about that. I mean, if it's not Boogie, then it's Jared Dudley. Sorry. Taco Tuesday. John Spam 19. Yes, you're right. And they get a taco. Hey, C Landa 89. Hey, Greg, nice shirt. See, there you go. Donnie, nice shirt. How do you feel about that now? See, people like it on Instagram. SoCal King 32. Does anyone else think AD and JaVale are clumsy? All right, let's talk about this for a second. This is a fantastic point from SoCal King 32. I have never seen a guy on the floor so much, and it scares the living daylights out of me every single time he's on the floor. Anthony Davis is on the floor 15 times a game. On the floor 15 times a game. Over and over and over again, he's on the floor. I feel like I'm watching early years of Dwayne Wade when he just fell to the floor after every made shot because that's just kind of what his game was. It's insanity because my heart stops every time he's on the floor. And so for him to do it so often in every single game, it's very concerning to me. Stop falling to the floor. You're driving me bananas. Please. Mr. Drew Garcia, bye KCP, bye Felicia, bye. That's funny. Blake St. Clair, Dudley is the prime candidate. I mean, that's unfortunately when it goes through everybody, that's kind of the guy. He does what he needs to do. All right, so that's what it is. Arlene DeJong, what's up, Darlene? Nice to see you again. And Boogie S. I'm not sure what that means, but Boogie has a lawsuit still, doesn't he? Yes, he does still have a lawsuit. I'm not really sure. I don't want to talk on that because I'm not really sure of all the details. I just know that things happened over the phone where he was saying he was going to harm or kill or hurt his ex-wife, and I don't know a lot of the details, so I just kind of stay out of that. I know that I have said things to my exes or my ex-wife in the past that I don't like. People get upset and they say stupid things. It doesn't make you a bad person to say those things. I'm sure people have all said those things to you at some point in your life. I don't know how much more there is to the story, so I'm not going to comment any further on that. Sam Ellingson says, just so you know, the streaming on YouTube is way more smooth. Good. I mean, everything should be the same, but good. If you go to youtube.com/Showtime forum, you'll find a lot more. If they're saying that is a much smoother transition there, so go ahead over there. Or you can stay on the Periscope, which is fine too. And actually, Twitch is available as well. I know Tan Marino is on Twitch watching right now. Mr. Drew Garcia, Donnie's hilarious. Donnie is hilarious. He's also kind of a jerk. So this is what he is. In the Slack, just so we're aware for the Showtime Forum Slack, there is 2 people that just go at it constantly, and it's really the funniest thing ever. Donnie Ekbode and David Portillo consistently fight with each other and say they're going to fight each other, and I just want it to actually happen one day just to see David destroy Donnie. It wouldn't even be close. But Donnie does hold his own in a verbal warfare. We'll put it that way. Mr. Drew Garcia, Armand Bradford says AD did this on a bum shoulder. Predict his best stat line this season. God, that's so difficult to do. I'm going to say that he is going to have a 50-point game this season. It could happen pretty soon. If he played in the fourth quarter, he would have had 50 points. He will have a 50-point game in this season, and I think he can be a guy. It's a lot, but I think his best stat line, if he really puts out everything and plays all 4 quarters, he could absolutely be a 50-25 guy. 50 points, 25 rebounds, maybe like 2 or 3 assists, and 3 blocks. That is a legit possible stat line for Anthony Davis, and how great he has been. This was such an amazing game from Anthony Davis. I have never seen Staples Center, well, again, hyperbole. Staples Center was fantastic on a Tuesday night. Just everybody standing, getting crazy, really being into the game. It was really fun to watch. Loved seeing it, shouting MVP, MVP. It was amazing to watch them do that, and to just watch him get to the free throw line 26 times. He did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. Anthony Davis was fantastic. Alvaro Gonzalez, oh yeah, infinitely more smooth on YouTube. So there you go. If you're on any of the other channels, go to YouTube, youtube.com/Showtime Forum. They're saying that it's a much smoother feed there. I'm sorry if it's bad on the Periscope right now. I am sitting here with the Wi-Fi. That is my Wi-Fi. So let's see. Showtime Forum with the eyeballs. You're talking about somebody there. Tan Marino 13 on Twitch. If Cousins is projecting well mid-December and Howard keeps playing like this, JaVale may find himself somewhat expendable. Never had a ton of playoff minutes and didn't play much on Golden State. I'd imagine many of our playoff minutes will have AD at the 5 anyways. JaVale and someone else could be our only package guys. That could be a trade to gain 1. Trade 2 to gain 1, and then we'd have an open slot for Andre. Memphis is in no rush, and it's obvious Iggy isn't either. And I kind of get it when it comes to Iggy anyway, because look, do you want Iggy right now and what are we in? What is this, October? Do you want Iggy in October, or do you want Iggy in January or February? I want Iggy later in the season when he can get his legs underneath him and be ready to go in the playoffs, because that's going to be the more important place for him to be. And this team is making the playoffs. It's obvious. This team is really, really good and so much fun to watch. I love watching a good Lakers team again. It really makes everything so much better. Laker banter. Finally, we have a legit team to root for. How many games do you think we will win? I was always around the 54-55 spot. I'm going to stay around there. I think they're still the 4th seed in the West. I don't think they're going to put a ton of pressure on the regular season itself. They're going to lose games. They're going to lose 20 to 25 games. It's just going to happen because they're going to, I mean, I say that, but watching them right now, I got to see them against another good team. I want to see them on Dallas. Let's talk about this again on Friday night. Friday night against Dallas, that's going to be a really big matchup. Dallas is now 3-1, and they just beat Denver in Denver. That's a good Dallas team, and Kristaps Porzingis wasn't even all that good. He only had 10 points, and I think a lot of that came late. I don't know exactly, I didn't watch the game, but still, he had 10 points, and Kristaps Porzingis is a huge part of that team, and he wasn't that big. They beat Denver in Denver. So let's talk after seeing a good team in Dallas that is supposed to be a playoff team this year. They have a very good chance to be in the playoffs, and in Dallas, the Texas road trip is always very difficult for the Lakers, always has been, even in the Shaq and Kobe era. It was always, the Texas road trip was difficult, and that's what you're seeing this weekend. You're going to go from Dallas to San Antonio, and those games, tough games. They used to be back-to-back back in the day. I'm sure you all remember. They used to be back-to-back, and you lost one. The game on the second half of the back-to-back was always a loss. It just worked out that way. Very difficult to play in those two places. So I really want to see more so what you see from those two games than to really have a real idea of what this Lakers team is going to look like. Let's see. He was joking. Donnie Ekbode. Let's be real. David would obviously kick my ass in real life, but I verbally split David in half. I told you, you are very good at your verbal warfare, but David would absolutely destroy you in a real fight. It's not even close. The lone courier, Caruso and Cook should switch rotations. Maybe. Look, I do like what I'm seeing from Caruso. I've always thought of him more as a third point guard, but seeing him on the floor he has so much energy, and he just plays great defense. I know he was a plus 19 the other night. Plus 19. I can't imagine he was much different tonight. Yeah, Caruso was a plus 14 tonight. The bench, wow, look at these bench numbers. I know a lot of it all happened in the fourth quarter, blah, blah, blah. But Dwight Howard, plus 22. Quinn Cook, plus 25. KCP, plus 25. Alex Caruso, plus 14. Avery Bradley was plus 11. Anthony Davis was plus 19. I know when you win by 29 points that obviously you're going to have a bunch of guys in the pluses, and especially high pluses. But still, Alex Caruso in the playing time he had. He only had 13 minutes, plus 14 when he was plus 19 on Sunday. Everything that you're seeing from Alex Caruso is usually positive numbers when he's on the floor. And I'm just going to look real fast to see if I can actually get his plus minus per game. Because I would like to actually see that, but I'd have to do a whole lot of digging, and I really don't feel like doing that, so I'm not going to do that. All right, so let's go back to Mr. Drew Garcia that says, best part of this game was that AD was able to sit most of the fourth quarter. He sat the entire fourth quarter. He got 40 points and 20 rebounds in 3 quarters. That's insanity. God, he's so good. Ron R. says also, I believe JaVale's strength is playing the running game. However, the Lakers are last in the league in pace. Maybe he may be a trade candidate, or could Vogel create a run and gun offense with second unit? Possibly. I think that's maybe where you'll see that more, where Kuzma and Rondo are going to want to push a little bit more. But you're right, and that's a very good point, that JaVale's strength is in the running game, and that's not what this team is about. And that's why I've been talking about for most of these post games, is that JaVale just doesn't seem to fit into this offensive structure. His game has always been the Lonzo game with the lobs that are on fast breaks and getting a bunch of those, and it just hasn't worked out that way for him. He got a bunch of them tonight, and when he's coming down the middle of the lane, watch out. But it's not really exactly everything that we're looking for. And I'm not sure how much he really fits right now. Escaleto 15, James has Luka's number. Yeah, he was great against them last year. A lot of that was actually Lonzo, too, by the way. Mr. Drew Garcia, by the way, noticing more days between games early in the season, then they ramp up to more smart of NBA. Agreed. A lot of times I want to see. I don't like the back-to-backs, and most guys don't, and Adam Silver especially doesn't like the back-to-backs. So you're seeing a lot less of them, and I think that's a positive thing. So that really helps, knowing that you don't have a lot of that. Showtime Forum is on having a conversation with itself, essentially. Saying, Donnie, quit while you're ahead. So Donnie is talking to Showtime Forum. It's actually very entertaining for me. Laker Facts, what's up, Laker Facts? So happy that you're on here. They are great at the stats that they put out all the time. So always love having a back and forth with Laker Facts. He's a good defensive option, yet I'm sure you're talking about, if you want more office play, Cook, you're talking about Alex Caruso. Yes, Alex Caruso is the better defender, and that's why it's nice to have him off the bench, and really you use him kind of, it's weird to say it this way, and I'd love to see more minutes for him, but he's kind of like a closer. When you need defensive stops and good defense, you bring out Alex Caruso, the Caruso god, and have him come out and play great defense, and you go on runs, and he has positive numbers. So I kind of like him as a secret weapon kind of deal, but I mean, I would like to see more minutes from him. I can't deny that whatsoever. Mr. Drew Garcia, oh, by the way, that new Laker app is pretty nice. Post-game breakdowns are very comprehensive. There's only one post-game. It's on Showtime Forum, but yeah, I'm sure the Laker app is really nice. I just don't get apps. I'm a weird guy like that. Laker Facts, if AD isn't worried, I'm not worried. Good, exactly. And I think that's the important thing. Ben's Headspace, who makes great cartoons for Showtime Forum, by the way. This Friday, I think we get treated to an AD versus Porzingis matchup. Yes, we do. Whether or not AD is actually guarding Porzingis is going to be the bigger issue here. He did not guard Jonas Valanciunas much, if at all, in this game tonight. You're going to see JaVale and Dwight Howard on Porzingis, and Porzingis is very, very good at what he does. He is much better at... He is kind of like an AD type guy where they call him a unicorn for a reason, where he is a good ball handler. He's a 7-foot guy that can shoot deep. He can get to the basket. Very similar to AD's game, except AD is a bigger, stronger guy and just more dominant. So we'll see. I think that could be a great matchup. I don't know if you'll see them against each other too much, though. Laker Banter, I'm still interested to see what we have in THT. Do you think he can scratch some PT for himself? No, I don't. We haven't seen THT at all. So we haven't seen THT in Summer League. We didn't see THT in preseason. We didn't see THT in the regular season. He's with the South Bay Lakers, and he's going to stay there. And that's probably where he's going to get his playing time, if he's going to get any playing time at all. There's just no room for THT on this team. I just don't. If anybody's going to get some type of playing time, it's going to be from... it's going to be Zach Norvell. That's the guy that you're going to see more time from. Let's see. I got Laker facts. He could have finished with start of third trash day tomorrow. I missed the start of the third quarter trash day tomorrow. Ah, there you go. He could have finished with 50 plus if it was a close game. Absolutely. Laker facts. You're absolutely right. He would have. And David's in __. Oh, hi Greg. Hi there. Wait. Where are they talking? Oh, going to the IG. Be right back. David, go back over to I think Donnie is on YouTube, by the way. So David, I know you're over there on Instagram now. Go over to YouTube and go talk to Donnie on YouTube, because that's where he likes to have most of his conversations. You guys can go back and forth and hate on each other as much as you want. I'm going to just ignore all that. Timeless LA says, was this a bad team we played? This road trip will show what this team can really do. Yes, the Memphis Grizzlies are a bad team. We cannot deny that. But at one point in this game, in the third quarter, it was 67-66 Memphis. The Lakers after that went on something like a 30-4 run and ended up beating this team 120-91. At that point, they scored 24 more points. The Memphis Grizzlies scored 24 points in the fourth quarter, and that was it. Everything else was all Lakers. It was Lakers. And let's see what the Lakers had 32. Is that right? 32 in the fourth, 39 in the second, in the third, and 22 to 15 in the second quarter. They just beat down on a bad team, and that's what you want to see. So you're right. You're absolutely right, Timeless LA. We're going to see a lot more that happens on the Texas road trip, as we were just talking about. The Texas road trip is really where we'll see a lot about what this team is this early into the season. Mr. Drew Garcia, Bergman, appreciate you doing this, brother. Of course, man. Always happy to be here with you guys. Laker facts. THT was dressed and on the bench tonight. Oh, there you go. He was dressed and on the bench tonight, but 0 minutes, didn't play. Coach's decision. I don't see how he gets into any game unless it's a blowout, and he didn't even get into this game with a blow. Zach Norvell got into like the last 2 minutes of games, and that's what you're going to see from THT. He's kind of like a floating guy that's going to kind of go back and forth. El Cariza 1, last fallback for California this weekend. Yeah, sure. Mr. Drew Garcia, I'm not sure of that. Read it's live. Mr. Drew Garcia wants me to read what? You want me to go F yourself? Go F yourself, San Diego? Yeah, absolutely. I will say that over and over again. I say it on the air for Mason, Ireland. Bye, San Diego. Have no love for you whatsoever. David Portillo did go over to Don, try and talk to Donnie on YouTube. Good job, buddy. My Stone Rocks KCP fire. Yeah, in the fourth quarter when it doesn't matter. Timeless LA, when Kuz comes back, it should put everyone in their right rotation. Agreed. That is another great point. Thank you, Timeless LA. You've been saying the correct things a lot, and I appreciate that. Yes, when he does come back, it's going to help a lot, and I think you're going to see a lot more from Kuz and the second unit, because the second unit kind of dies unless it's Anthony Davis. It's Anthony Davis, and that's it. I mean, sometimes he finds somebody open in the corner, but besides that, there's no pure scorer next to him on that second unit. And when Kuz comes back, that's where you're going to find your 18 points per game coming from that second unit, where a guy that can legitimately be a six-man candidate. And that's what you are hoping that we're going to see. Hey, easy on my hometown, MPG. Look, I'm from LA. I'm an LA guy. I hate all teams in San Diego. I don't know what you want me to tell you. The city of San Diego is beautiful. And it is always warm. It's always 75. It's a great place to go to the beach, great bars. There's a lot of fun things to do down in San Diego. I hate their football team. Yes, the Chargers are still from San Diego. The Clippers, to me, are still from San Diego. I basically consider anybody team that's from Orange County to be San Diego adjacent. So I just kind of consider them the same thing. So I'm sure that's going to make people hate me, but I'm sorry. They just all seem to like the Angels and the Chargers and the Clippers and the Ducks, and those are all the opposite of my teams in LA. I'm a Lakers, Dodgers, Kings, Bruins guy, and that's who I am. Let's see. So I only got a couple more questions here. I'm going to get out of here in a minute because I'm ready to go home. I got an hour show tomorrow. I can actually get some sleep tonight. Well, I'm hoping to get some sleep tonight. But you got Donnie Ekbodi and David Portillo. If you want to have some fun watching them yelling at each other on YouTube, go to youtube.com/Showtime Forum. Laker Facts, Dudley is from San Diego. Yeah, I love Dudley. He's a really interesting guy, and I hope to have him be a regular guest on Mason, Ireland soon. I need to get in touch with him, actually, and really try and make that work out. But if it does, I would love him, but unfortunately, if somebody has to go, that's the guy that I think should go. Let's see. Last thing. I don't know why we're going to do this, but David Portillo, 89. Are we worried that KCP is gaining confidence in trash minutes and will get a big head? He will try to do too much in a real game, and we will end up hating him. I think he's kind of already at that spot. I don't think he has a big head. I think that he's just trying to shoot himself out of it, and he can't do it in the first 3 quarters. All of a sudden, he can in the 4th quarter, and that's because you're playing against secondary teams. You're not playing against the starters. You're not playing against, John Morant and Kyle Anderson and who was the other one? It was even. Who am I thinking of? Grayson Allen was even playing well against him. It just, you don't see that as much. So, no, I don't think KCP is ever going to be a superstar on this team or anything close to it. I don't think he's going to be a main option at any point either. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully he becomes a great 3-point shooter, great defensive player, and I'm totally wrong. I just don't see it happening. SoCal King 32, do you listen to Gilbert Arenas' podcast? He has some damn good insight on the game. Gilbert Arenas is great. He says a lot of good stuff about the Lakers, so I always like that. But no, I do not listen to it. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. The only podcast I listen to is the Showtime Forum podcast with Chris Camello and Nick Hamilton. That's my little shout out for them. But besides that, all right, last one from each place, and then I'm out of here. That was a real question, and I answered it in a real way, I believe, David. Mr. Drew Garcia, SD is a great city for me to poop on. See, there you go. I just read what you said, no matter what. Laker facts, I'm all for KCP getting his trade stock up. Sure, get him out of here. Get him out of here. SoCal King 32, and on the Lakers, lineups, yes, he's good. All right, that's going to do it for me. I answered the last couple questions that I could there. I'll be back with you on Friday, unless I hand it over to Devon, but I think I'm going to be back here on Friday after Dallas because it's a very big game. It's a very important game to really see what we're going to find out from the Lakers playing against another actual good, positive team that's going to be in the playoffs or fighting for a playoff spot. In this early time of the year, how they play against Dallas is going to be really interesting to watch, and I got to watch it on TV and really see the game in a different way. So I will be back here on Friday. Thank you for coming to the Showtime Forum post-game show. Always happy to be here. So make sure to be back here on Friday, and I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm going to go home and get some rest. All right. See you guys on Friday. I'm out of here. See ya.